Hello, this is Kristen again. This is Kristen Codes. I'm coding every day until I become a web developer. This is day 2, but indexing starts at 0, so it's technically day 1, whatever. and Today, I think yesterday I was talking about what I needed to do today, uh, and I did do some of that. So first, I started off doing the form validation. Um, the form validation challenge or tutorial by Brad Traversy on his 20 vanilla JavaScript course on Udemy. And I went through that, learned a little bit. Um, so essentially, let's go into the HTML. We created a form, and forms were something I was kind of weird about. I don't know. I had to do a refresher on forms. Initially when I did his HTML and CSS course, I skipped over forms. I have no idea why I did that, but I went back and I looked some things up. And now I understand forms and labels and inputs and all that stuff. So we created a form and then we added form controls. And in those form controls, we have username, uh, email, password, and then the confirm password, which we call password too. It's weird how Prettier does some different formatting right here than over here, but whatever. Um, and I kind of strayed away from how he did the tutorial because initially he wanted to, when he refactored everything, he placed he created functions and then he used those functions in the add event listener that was placed on the submit button. Actually, let me go ahead and open this up so you guys can see it right over here. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, it works. Oh, you're seeing all my email addresses. Let's just enter something right here, enter a password, and as you can see, it says, oh yeah, everything's good. And then if I take things out, it says it's bad. If these don't match, it says it's bad. They match, they don't match. If it just says something random in the email, it'll say it's not valid. It has to be something at something.com, right? And I should make it so that this is bullet points and you can't see the password, but whatever. And then bam. So yeah. So the form validation works. What I did differently is during when I was learning switch statements and I was getting ChatGPT to give me different problems to solve involving switch statements, I ran across a cool trick with switch statements where you can place, let's see, where is it? You can place true inside of a switch statement, and then you can put expressions in the case. Ones that come out to true. So, for example, when I did it's going to loop through an array. I created a function that takes in, well, first, I'm getting mixed up. Let me start from the beginning. I got the form, put that in a const, got all the inputs, put those in const, got the submit button, put that in a const, put all these things in variables. Created a function to determine whether or not the email is valid. This is a regex. I did not make this myself. I found that on the interwebs. I'm gonna have to do a tutorial on regular expressions, and I'm gonna have to remember or relearn this method right here because I did not know you could use this function on different things. So returns a Boolean value that indicates whether or not a pattern exists in a search string. So it checks this to see if this pattern exists. And if it does, it'll return true. And if it doesn't, it'll return false. I created two functions, one called show error, one called show success. When it's success, it will give a green border, and when it is red, it will give a red border, and it'll show username is not valid, blah blah blah. In the tutorial we capitalized that, but I was just trying to move fast so I could get to the real challenge that I was preparing for. I don't like to stay in tutorials for too long. I like to use a tutorial as a base. Okay, I'm learning, and then I like to go to a challenge where I'm trying to figure it out myself. So the meat and potatoes of this is when I added an event listener to the submit button over here, and then it does an input check, and the input check function is right here. So the input check takes an array, and the array are these variables right here, the username, email, password, password2, and you can see that right here. And it will, using a for each on that array, we go through each element and then use this switch statement. So if the element ID equals email, then we do is email valid, and I use this ternary function. Is email valid? If it is, we show success. If it's not, we show error. With the username and password, if it is blank, then we show if the element does not, if it's not blank, then we show success, and if it is, we show an error. And then we have the password, and we need to make sure the password matches the confirmed password. The password 2 matches the original password over here, and I just added something random here. So I finished the form validator. That was good. That was all great and stuff. And then I moved to the front end mentor challenge, which I am going to open up right now. Open recent. We got the newsletter sign up. And I think what I'll do is I'll go to front end mentor. We can go to my challenges, and it was this challenge. So we have to design this, and it has form validation in it. So you can kind of see my thought process. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a tutorial on form validation. I'm going to understand it, learn it, and then I'm going to test myself with the challenge. So here's this. Got to do form validation on that. It has different states. Here's the error state, the success state, mobile design and stuff, and all that stuff. Right? Okay. And so I'll just move this over here, and we can go live with this one. And so, and I'll put this picture over here if I can find it. Desktop design. Okay, yeah. So you can see I got pretty close to the design. Looks pretty well. Let me show it over here. You see it's pretty close to the design. Yeah. I think it's pretty good. Except for this color, right? The color on here is different than the color right here, so I'm gonna have to change that. Maybe I could change that right now. I think that's the body, and I think it's a blue 700. And I think, yeah, there we go. So that matches that now. There we go. So yeah, for now, I don't have any form validation on it. For some reason, it was taking me so long. Sometimes I feel like it takes me so long to do these little designs, and it's something so simple, but I can get so hyper focused on, like, for example, I just noticed that this is darker than this, and this doesn't have enough space. So now I want to go in. We have the button, the padding on the button. I want to increase that to 8. Okay, and then that means I need to increase this one to 8 as well. And then I need to make this H1. See, we go to H1. Oh, where are we? Cart container. Cart left H1. We need to make the color blue 700. Yeah, and I think that better matches this design right here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this is different. This has a little different thing on it. Anyway. So now the next step is to add form validation and everything, and then I have to make it responsive and all of that stuff. So right now it's not responsive, it's just doing its thing. I feel like this design took so long. I don't know why it takes so long. You know, really what made it take a little bit longer was, let me increase this size a little bit. Were these before? So I did the before pseudo class on the list items. I had to look this up because originally I put it in the content, and now that I think back at it, I could have left it in the content because I applied flex to the list items, but at the time I didn't, and I was kind of confused why these weren't aligning. So I was trying a whole bunch of different stuff, Googling stuff, but I eventually got it to work. So it's stuff like that I'm like, oh, you know, it's taking me a long time. But I got to remember to start from the top to the bottom. I'm always like kind of jumping around when I'm learning something. So the next step will be, I wonder, should I do that on stream now? So I guess I could write some, like, for example, I want to get the, we want to get the input, we want to get the button, right? Oh, y'all can't see that. I need to move. Let me move me right here. Yeah, buddy. Move me right here, maybe. Yeah. All right. So we want to get the input, we want to get the button. So I can do const document dot why isn't it doing the thing? Oh, I'm in, I'm in the right place. So we're using strict, and we're doing const submit document dot get dot. Why isn't IntelliSense working? You see, it's stuff like that. Like, I'm always like, let's see, why don't we just start over? We're in script.js. There's no need to. So if I just say let submit equal document, okay, yeah, I was messing up. You see, so it wasn't the computer's fault, it was just my fault. It was just me not doing what I was supposed to do because I didn't put the equal sign right there. It's stuff like that. Anyway, query selector, and I think that is the button is the button. Yeah, we're just gonna go with button. I think we can do that. Yeah, we should just be able to say button, which is not a good thing. I should say like button type equals submit or something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Equals submit. No, like that. That did not work. I did this on my other one. Let me open the other one. Let's see. File, open recent. on the form validator tutorial, I accessed the button. Let me see. Submit. Yeah, I did button. Yeah, I did this. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. Open recent. We're gonna open the newsletter sign up. Refresh that. So it should be. Yeah, there we go. So that should work. So we do button and then the type got a single quote. So let's just console log submit, inspect the element. Why did two of these come up? Who knows? Okay, so we got the button, so the button works. So now we need to get the input. So let's see, we can say, why don't we get the form as well? Why don't we say get form, get the form, const form equal document dot query selector, and we will get the form. Then let's log the form. Yep, and the form is the form, and it's forming forms. Okay, now we want to get the input. We're going to do const input. Let's be specific. Let's do email input equals form dot query selector input, and then we're going to console.log email input. Oh no. Oh, forgot to put the things. All right, now it likes that. So we got, oh, that's cool. In the console, it'll highlight the element that we selected. So we got the input right here with the ID of email. Okay, so we got the input. We get the submit button. We're just gonna erase this. Oop. Okay, so we get the form, get the input, get the submit button. Now what we can do is go back to the other one, because we need to create a function called validate email. Enter an email, will return true if email is valid. We will create a const call regex email equals, and we're just going to make it empty for now. Let's turn that off, and then we're going to say regex email will return regex email dot test string email dot trim email dot value dot trim, so to remove any white space. And I think the value, yeah. So I'm going to, I wonder, how did I do that? Open recent form validator. We're just gonna grab, to lowercase. We're just gonna grab this right here. All right, then we're gonna say all right. So here's the regular expression I use. Instead of trim, we're gonna say dot value, email dot value dot lower case. Guess what I did? Why don't I do, let's do CLG validate email sum at sum.com. Okay, and then we gotta do a live again. Okay, inspect element, console. Is it too lowercase? Up. Oh, see, I'm messing up again. I think it's like that, yeah. Can we do it? Is it gonna work? Oh, it's doing that thing again. All right, so let's close that and go live. Inspect element, go to the console. Okay, so this returned true. Okay, so that worked. But if we do something like this, it's gonna return false. So the first one, this is a valid email, so we get true. This is not a valid email, so we get false. Okay, so let's see. So we got console.log validate email. I think what I can do is put a class of error onto the form. Let's see. So we have our form. Let's do .card left form dot error input border 1 pixel solid red. Okay, and then what I'll do is, so we know this works, we're going to use the submit dot add event listener. I'm going to add a click and we're gonna because if every time we click this, we don't want it to reset. Oh, it's not a function. Oops. Sorry. Dang. Don't get mad at me. Let's make sure this is working. It's alive. Alright, so that's working. I'm gonna leave it there for now. All right, and the next thing we're gonna do is just probably something, just a simple if else. If input dot value, oops, if email input dot value does not equal, then we will do email, we'll do validate. Actually, do I need to do this? Can I just do validate email? Email input dot value. If that's true, I don't think we need it. Hold on, do we have success? Okay, we desktop success. Let's just do the error for now. So validate email, and if it's correct, we're just gonna console.log something for now. It works. And if it doesn't, then we're going to get the form.classlist.add error. Oop. I think I need to do it like that. Oh crap, where did I mess up? So validate email.input.value. I know I did this correct. Why is it talking about? Oh, okay, that was from the if that I made. All right, so if I do that, okay, yeah, okay, so it works. But if I were to put something at something.com, let's see, I don't know how to do form.classlist.remove error. And I think there's a way, so we got the form, we got the input. I think if we do .card left input, is it hover? Border none? Something like that? Let's see if that works. Hold on, how do I remove hover outline CSS? I think it's literally outline. Yeah, outline none. Isn't that crazy? It's just outline none. Outline none. So now on hover, it doesn't do anything. All right. For some reason, it still does it when I click this, but we're gonna worry about that later. So the form validation works, but let's see, what else do we need? When it's in desktop success. So desktop success brings this up. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a class. I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put it down here. Utility, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be dot hidden visibility hidden, or actually no, display none. We're just gonna say display none for now. Or why don't I call it no display? That'll be better. And then for hidden, I'll say visibility. I think visibility hidden, yeah. All right, so why don't if this is successful, I wonder, can I do this? Let's see. I think I'm gonna just have to change that into Instead of a ternary, this is gonna have to be a function. I wonder, can I do something like this? Nah, you know what? I'm not even gonna try it. See, I was trying to be all fancy and stuff. We're just gonna make an if else, and then we're gonna say and that'll work the same. Yeah, that's a placeholder, by the way. That's not a value. Form.classless.remove error, and then we're gonna say we really need to make this whole card disappear. Card. I don't want to make the card container disappear, but maybe I should. I should have wrapped all of this in a different div. Yeah, I think I can do that though. Yeah, I'll just say if it's true, then we're gonna say let's get card container const card underscore container equals document dot query selector card container, and we're going to call card container. Oh no, it's null. Why? Let's see. Card container. Why is it null? Document.query selector card container. That should be right. Okay. I think I accessed these like they were form and input. That's different. Yeah, there's a literal form element, a little literal input, and this is a class. I need to remember that. All right, so we got the card container. Now we are going to say form dot card container dot class list dot add, and we're gonna add the class that we made, which was no display? No underscore display. Let's change that. Oh, I got a phone call, yeah. Display none, display hidden, display none. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, that's where my train of thought left my spirit. Okay, So now when we click this button, all of this should disappear. Oh. Yep. All right. So tomorrow I'll be finishing this challenge, wrapping it all up, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later.